Welcome, everybody, to another episode of From a Certain Point of Skew, the only podcast that dares to get drunk on air. I'm Ian McDiarmid, inside Wookie Poo Studios, with neighbor Cole, who looks a little flustered right now.
Flustered or flushed?
Flushed.
Oh, okay. I just had a little dip of this Perrin Reserve we're drinking.
Yeah. Tell everyone about it real quick before we introduce the dark side.
It's a Perrin...
We might be the dark side in a half hour.
It's a dark beer. It's a Perrin Reserve, a triple malt mash brandy barrel-aged chocolate raisin stout.
That's a lot.
This is a Christmas gift from you from 2 years ago.
Yep.
Finally just...
I like how it's a reserve, but yet you waited longer.
I reserved the I reserved the option to pull it from the top of my refrigerator and bring it down to this show.
Wow. And there wasn't even any dust on it.
It's not spotchka, but it's the closest thing we can get.
All right, let's have two spots of spotchka?
Snorts.
Two snorts, that's what I said.
I had to do this for you every week.
Yeah, you do.
That beautiful voice you hear coming in.
Look at more there. He's like, he's getting a fever.
No, it's like,
introduce me.
I want some Perrin Reserve. We'll send you a thimbleful through FedEx.
There you go.
That's our third micer, Matt, who Darth Mathias is what
Is that a thing yet?
He's trying to get in. He's trying to get in this conversation. So we'll allow
He's gonna be a mic hog once he starts talking.
Yeah, just keep going as long as we can. Keep him off mic as long as we can. Is that our strategy?
Yes, exactly. I think that's what we should do.
Come on in, Matt. Come on, we know.
Wait, hold on. Are you something before?
Hello, Jay and Cole. It's so good to talk to you.
Is that the librarian?
No, I was waiting to do that. That's the Queen Geonosian.
Oh, fuck.
Oh. No, she said, well, I guess so. Yeah, the one with the hive mind and the zombies.
I had forgotten all about that and being pissed off about that until you just now did that.
You're welcome.
Bringing me back.
Well, for that little tease right there, well, I go ahead and give the listeners where they can find us, and then I'll talk about the tease of season 2.
Yeah, you can find us. Our website is FromACertainPointOfSkew.com. You can find us on Twitter at FACPAPod, and you can email the show at facpapod@gmail.com. Please go out and review the show as well. We haven't had any reviews lately, and it'd be great to get those. And I think that's it. And yeah, and we need more mall bag mail, so keep sending those in.
Yeah, we got to get you mall bagged.
Yeah.
And look at listeners, just because we're not giving away, a fortune of the year's annual petty cash
right.
in dark sabers, you can still email the show. Still say something.
Future giveaways coming, but yeah, in the meantime, we need you to keep us going.
Right.
We can't go bankrupt like GameStop.
Oh man, are we gonna
Is that the other way around?
No, I think they're fine now.
Yeah, they sure are.
They're in much better shape than they were. That's for sure.
See, we need to figure out a way to get ourselves in the spotlight on that. So if you guys could start some sort of underground Reddit/Star Wars support.
Yeah, let's make FACPA go public.
Yeah, we'll go public and start buying our own shares.
Yes, exactly.
Insider trading all across the galaxy.
Short sale FACPA.
FactPoint. I was trying to do a Bitcoin thing. FactPoint.
Yes, there we go.
FactPawn stars.
Okay, if you're here and you're listening, you're like, what the hell is this show? This is what we do. We usually, we talk a little news with the show, what's going on in the Star Wars world. We have a question of the week. Our big, the meat and potatoes of the show is there's no more Mandalorian right now. There's no more Mandalorian gallery making of. There's nothing really, so we decided to go back. We've never watched the Clone Wars all the way through. We've seen bits and pieces. Some of us have seen more seasons than the other, but we decided as like a crew here to get at least 40% knowledge on the Clone Wars seasons. So we are now in season 2, and we're going to discuss our favorites and some of the. We're going to have some nitpicking. I mean, if there's anything we do, we bring a little bit of that to the show. We've got a mall bag, and then maybe by the end of the show, I will have put something together for a FACPA factoid. But if not, you're going to have a hell of a show for you. So with that, let's discuss season 2.
Or do you want a question of the week first?
Let's go back to the question of the week. Yeah.
Question for the meek.
Yes.
So this is, I saw a tweet by Star Wars Facts this week and tweeted it out from our account, and you responded to it. It was the release the Vader cut. So this was in reference to an interview that I looked it up. I did not realize this from 2018, but we didn't have a podcast then, so we didn't cover it.
Right.
So this is Ian McDiarmid, a.k.a. Palps. He said that Order 66 was originally supposed to be more gruesome. So I kind of wanted to get an idea from you guys what you think we missed out on, and should they release that cut. And here's the quote that he said in that interview. He said, "I think it was a little more gruesome than you ended up seeing. A lot of young potential Jedi ended up on the cutting room floor."
Wow. Yes. Now, if you go to the book, the episode, was it episode 3? The book is a little bit more dark, I believe, where Anakin goes into and it basically talks about him just slaying all the younglings and shit. It gets real dark. So I wonder if that was taken from one of the script versions or if it was actually shot and it was taken from that and then edited. But to answer that question, I don't think we'll ever see it now that Disney owns it. Like if he's going in there just taking saber to kids' heads and you're seeing 8-year-old heads pop off and roll down the stairs, it ain't happening.
Is there anywhere, this was a question for you, I guess, is there anywhere in the Star Wars universe, anthologies or whatever, graphic novel where they would go into like the blood and gore type of stuff? Like,
has there been like an adult version of Star Wars?
Yeah.
No, not that I know of, but man.
I see we got a marketplace.
I think so.
Open market.
Well, when we start writing our Wookiee and the Wink episodes.
Winky and the Wookiee.
That's what I said. We're going to make it real dark.
It's going to be porn.
Yeah.
Sounds pornish.
Yeah. No, I'm not sitting on your lap again, Wookiee.
Chewbacca.
So many lightsaber references. I would imagine there is just like right arms of Padawans everywhere. It's just dismemberment all over the place. Like you said, it's heads and arms and legs just being slayed and cut. And maybe poor little Grogu sitting there in like a wicker basket, watching this all go down. Oh,
we saw it happen. Yeah. I wonder if they'll retcon some shit. Like, you know how Disney's already gone in there and re-edited a few little things?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if they'll go in there and all of a sudden just not tell anybody. All of a sudden someone's watching episode 2 and you see fucking Grogu in the background.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the path that puts him, like maybe that's something coming up. Like that he's hiding in like a little closet or something and he can see out like through the slats, like through every bad horror movie.
Dude, there's 2 episodes in this season that are shot very, very like Sam Raimi horror like. So I could sort of see like that getting a little scary. The episode on the farm, where the one clone guy is away and then he comes home and then, they have a whole thing of like, is it Rex who has an issue with he's got a tell on him, right? It's code.
Oh, he's a deserter.
But like when they're hunted by Grievous's little ninja commando droids and shit, I love the way that gets shot.
Yeah. Well, they borrowed from a lot of different previous movie ideas, and we'll get to those because.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, the Seven Samurai comes up again. It's so there's a lot that's borrowed from, but it's all. I thought this season overall was, when we'll get to that in a minute, but was better than season 1.
Agreed. So I guess to wrap up this Order 66, if anything, Marvel has the comics line. They could maybe get a little bit more graphic, or at least like see that whole thing play out like the way it was originally intended to be. Because I know some of that was cut because it was like really dark and it was supposed to be for kids. I'd like to see that. I think, and I read that, and according to the way it was worded, it was shot. It was just when it was edited,
right,
those scenes were taken out. So they exist somewhere.
I think you've got a real good audience for something like that because all of the kids in 79, 80, 85 through that era are all grown up 40-year-olds with jobs and careers now, and they could be like, oh, I'd love to explore the childhood. Like, you don't want to.
It doesn't bother us to see
like
kids
when
killed.
We all went back and seen 1, 2, and 3, we all were like, oh, this was all channeled towards kids more. Right? So.
Yeah, give us a dark version.
I could see a more adult.
An adults-only version.
Triple X.
Star Wars After Dark.
Yeah, because Lucas shot the honeymoon scene when they went back after, Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Did you say Luke or Lucas?
Lucas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it like, what was the movie with Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise where it was...
Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah, where like just them and the director are in the room together and it's real intimate. Yeah, it was like that with Lucas and them.
And for some reason, Lucas just like 6 hours into it, he's like, no, we still got tape. Just keep going.
How many times do you think he mopped his
Anakin
brow?
snorting lines off Padme's ass. Stay hard.
Oh, man.
So how many times do you think he mopped his brow with a handkerchief?
Yeah.
Keep going. No. Please keep going.
These new high-def cameras are great.
Yeah, maybe. You want to go to the news?
I always know we've gone too far when Matt starts to sweat.
Oh, no, I'm wiping
brow.
my eyes.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Get him a handkerchief.
So the news, there's just a couple items. One is kind of mostly surrounding the Mandalorian stuff, but they said that season 3 production filming starts April 5th.
Of The Mandalorian.
Of The Mandalorian, season 3.
Yeah.
Which then makes you think, okay, so how far out is it going to be before we see it, before it's released? Because we know Book of Boba's coming December at some point. And then you would think that Mando season 3 would follow that. So is it going to be a full year? Is it going to be like April 22 when we see Mando season 3?
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do because they're starting to line all their projects up now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the way they're launching the Marvel shows, it's just one after another.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's a week or two between WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh.
And then Loki starts right up afterwards as well. So now that they've got multiple Star Wars projects in production, in an order, and they've got more than one volume, they can just keep shooting and shooting. I won't be surprised if there's like long continuous like loops where we just pick up one show, the next show, if there's a made for Disney Plus movie or mini series, whatever. And then as long as people are tuning in for this stuff, I think 2022 is where we're going to start seeing more and more of it. No, I'm sorry, 2023. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so the Andor has been shooting for a while. So is that not coming? Is that not coming out? Is that going to come out between Boba and season 3 of Mando, or is it going to be after Mando? And obviously, when is Kenobi coming out as well? Because I think they just start shooting that this month?
Yes. Yep.
So it just makes you wonder, and I'd be thrilled if it's all lined up back to back to back.
Oh yeah.
Much better for our podcast. We have these
certainly
don't have these dead spots.
Yeah, we'll be weekly again.
Yep.
We'll have we won't have to watch. Well, by then we'll be through the old stuff,
Yeah,
the
we'll be
stuff we've
through
never
all that.
seen. So we'll be ready to go.
Yeah. It just made me wonder.
What if it just never comes out, guys? What are we gonna do?
Oh man.
What if we all died
Oh Jesus.
too.
and we didn't get to see it?
The other thing that they mentioned about Andor recently, over the last couple of weeks, it was K2SO. Like Alan Tudyk came out and was like
Right.
saying how he wasn't going to be in the new series, and everybody's like, "Well, wait a minute, didn't you kind of come out on stage and like didn't you? Wasn't that
Yep.
the whole part of the show was supposed to be that you're involved and obviously a major character because he's his buddy?" So that made me think, okay, they're full of shit. One, but then he's come out since, like just in the last couple of days, I think, and said there are plans for him in the future, but he has not filmed anything yet. So it makes you think, are they already looking at doing a second season of Andor? They're already that far along?
Right.
Because Andor's like, didn't they say it's 12 episodes?
Yep.
That's pretty long
it
for a
was it
series.
was 9 or 12 episodes. They said, yeah, you're right. And then from what we heard, it was a limited series, though, right? Like the
That's what I
idea was
thought.
like this was the start because we know there's an endpoint for this fella, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I maybe like when they went in and start, because I think this show was held up a little bit with some script writing and stuff too. Maybe with the story development, and they're like, you know what? We've got this egg cracked, and there's a lot of it. So let's let's not try to put it all into the first season, which 12 episodes is a lot.
That's a lot
but-
for a series. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'd be thrilled if it goes more than that, but it's certainly the
Mhm.
way he's talking makes it sound like that. So I thought that was interesting. And then I think Bodhi, the guy who plays, I forget his name. What's his name?
Donnie Yen?
Riz Ahmed, is that his name?
Oh yeah, yes.
He said that he's not in it, and I was like, well, that makes sense. I mean, I don't think his story really picks up until he's actually
Until they
in.
meet.
Yeah,
Right.
So that makes
Yeah.
sense to me. But I just thought there's no way you can't have K2SO in there at some point. It makes sense for him not to be there early, but like later
Mhm.
on, you'd assume he's going to show up because they have this rapport and clearly have a deep history.
Right.
and shit.
That's what I was really looking forward to, is more of that. I like the buddy cop thing they've got going on with each other.
Right.
Who
Yeah.
who are we talking about? K2SO and who?
Cassian, Andor.
Oh, Cassian. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
Thanks for catching me up, guys.
Yeah.
welcome
Rogue
to the
One.
show.
I do know Rogue
Okay.
One. Yeah.
Welcome to 40%.
I will say also. Oh, the other thing, Pedro Pascal came out and said that he did this interview where he was talking about, kind of vaguely talking about Mandalorian, and he was talking about how. So his quote, I'll read the quote. He said they're in the expansion of this world where there's so many unexpected surprises and timelines that are going to be dealt with. If the character were to cross over into these worlds, it will be utilized in a way that isn't meant to be expected. I wouldn't want to spoil the surprise of whether or not characters from the show we already know are crossing over. Crossover makes a lot of sense, and you'd assume it from the way they're saying all these are going to tie together and come together in some big culminating event. But the timelines thing was interesting to me because it makes you think, what does that mean exactly? Like, how are they going to orchestrate all these different series and matching up on a timeline?
Were you thinking timelines as in like time travel timelines, or timelines? To me, I'm taking it as like the different characters' timelines of like where they are in the universe and how do they overlap. I think that's what he means, because I don't think they're going to play with the whatchamacallit.
World of Worlds or whatever, like
Right,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it would make more sense that that's what they mean. And I guess, and maybe you look at it and say, well, the Rangers of the New Republic, maybe that's later. So
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? We're seeing Ahsoka, we're seeing Mandalorian stuff that are all roughly in the same timeline, but then the Ranger stuff comes in afterwards. So I don't know. Just thought it was interesting.
I'm more and more thinking Rangers of the New Republic is the Jedi Order.
You think so?
I there's yeah.
I'm interested to see how they're going to.
If I'm wrong, I'll quit the show.
Don't threaten us with a good
down.
time. I am interested to see how they're going to do it. Like if they're going to do it like we've said that Marvel kind of has the template going for like the big culminating event at the end. I can't see them doing exactly the same thing, but I kind of see like chance encounters or like. Well, like there's
Marvel does it really good where characters show up in other movies, even like second tier characters. Like WandaVision right now, we know Darcy from Thor shows up, and so does her name Monica. She's a little girl in the
Friends.
Yes, she's a little girl in Captain Marvel, and then she's all grown up because that took place in the 90s, and she's the one that's in WandaVision right now, and then she's also crosses back over into Captain Marvel too. So they do this with the characters, and I mean they have a fucking perfect template, right? It's like almost. It's not failed yet, so why would they not try to pick that up with Star Wars?
You know what's funny? You just said that. I didn't know that was that little girl.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I wasn't reading that much into it. Now I'm like,
okay.
oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
And I have no idea who you're talking about.
Right, that's true.
So
I should have been looking at Matt when I was talking about that.
So this last one is a crazy rumor that I think is unfounded, but I thought it was an interesting topic. And that is there's this, because the source is like a UK tabloid brag. So take it with a very huge grain of salt. And but it's something that people have thrown out for a while now. Everybody, has talked about like, oh, people that had issues with the sequel trilogy, like they should just act like it never happened, or they should totally redo them. There's all that talk, which just seems insane to me. But there's this article that was saying that they were going to retcon, do it over, and have it as Disney Plus series. So like Force Awakens essentially would be like a 10-episode series, season, and then the second season would be Last Jedi, and the third season would be Rise of Skywalker. So they would have all these three things that would essentially replace, and then their way of like making it jive with the fact that we've already seen these movies is the fact that they say that was an alternative timeline, and that this is now what you should be paying attention to.
Yes. What are your thoughts on this?
So it seems batshit crazy, and that there's no way. I just thought, could you imagine? And well, one of the other little nuggets they said was that there is a scene that J.J. Abrams shot with the big three from the original trilogy that's like 10 minutes long. It's in like a green screen area, so they could put whatever the fuck they want around it. And they're trying to think of a way to like basically use that to include in this retcon series that they're going to do to replace the sequel trilogy.
That is not true. None of that's true.
It just sounds nuts, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, there's been a petition for years I think even once Last Jedi came out, they started like, we got to reboot it.
Yep.
None of these movies are good. And then when Rise of Skywalker came out, same damn thing. They've been doing it since. They're trying to say that Disney's so unhappy with it. And their proof is they went back into the original trilogy universe for Mandalorian. And that's where they're dabbing their feet in again. Like there's all of this bullshit. Disney's happy as hell as the amount of money these have made. And at the end of the day, they're looking to make money. Yeah. Like they want to please the fans, obviously, because that gets us to keep buying their shit. But when Force Awakens makes what, $2.5 billion?
Yeah, $2,068,000,000.
Yeah. Last Jedi was almost $2 billion. And then Rise of Skywalker was less, but it was still well over $1 billion made. So I just don't. And there's no take the Snyder cut out of this thing, right? There's never been a studio that's gone, let alone one movie. They're not going to ignore 3 of the fucking movies they made. Be like, oh, you know what? We do see what we did wrong. Let's start all over.
The closest thing I can think of to that, and it's not the same, is Terminator. Is they made that latest Terminator movie and just decided only 1 and 2 actually count. The rest of them are thrown out. We're just picking up where 2 left off.
But that's because they kept failing with every reboot.
True.
Yeah, that was a template on how
Salvation didn't work 5 years later. Oh, wait, we can get a little bit of Artie back. Let's do, was it Genesis?
Let's check Christian Bale. Let's see how that works.
Yeah. Throw anything in there. Give it a try. It's a franchise.
I think what's happening right now to me, and I think they're showing it, is they're using everything that exists, and they're doing the same thing with the Mandalorian. And we're seeing the seeds of it, right? For what the Clone Wars, which we're going to talk about, did for the original trilogy, right? They expanded upon it. They made the characters, their arcs much more. Like everyone loves those movies and these characters a lot more because of this animated series. And I think with the Mandalorian and these shows that we're going to see, it's going to make us see like the issue with Palpatine and the cloning and all this shit. Like, we're already seeing that this is what it's leading to, right? So they're not going to ignore what they've already built, and they're, I guess, going back to show the foundation of, and then be like, oh yeah, I know the fans don't like that. There's plenty of fans that do like it though.
Well, and I think people would just be like, can you please stop showing, like, we don't want a redux. We don't want to see the stuff we've already seen or the characters we've already seen unless they're doing something totally new. So I mean, that's one of the big things that people talked about when the Skywalker saga came to an end, if you want to call it that, is let's see other stories. Let's see other timelines. So I think as much as they are a cash cow, I think you don't want to go back and try to just wash them off the board and say, yeah, but these are the real things now.
I still think there's going to be 3 more episodes though.
I think that's possible. I do. And so that's where their effort would be. It wouldn't be in redoing the sequel trilogy.
Right.
It would be in doing the final trilogy, whatever you want to call it.
What do you think it's going to be?
I think the only way they'll get Finn back is if it's about him and he has some type of character development. So I think it would be more toward that character. We've already seen Rey's story. Right. Like, she might be in it, but I don't think she would be the lead.
You think like a 10, 11, 12, or are you thinking like a pre 1, 2, and 3?
No, 10, 11, 12. Because originally Lucas, the whole idea, I think, was supposed to be 12 episodes. So
they're going to do -3, -2, -1.
Yeah.
Going in the negatives.
Yeah, I think it's the internet fucking complaining about something. I really do.
Oh, I figured that.
If any of those complainers are listeners, hey, look, thank you for listening. We love you.
Hope you win the Darksaber.
That's right.
Too late. So let's get into the Clone Wars, man.
Okay.
Last time we kind of started off with just our general thoughts, and I was going to say, overall, I thought the season started really strong, ended really strong, and had a very strong middle. And then there were some of those episodes kind of, spattered about in between. But
fillers, the fillers.
Right.
They seem to really do a lot of, and I didn't look back to see season 1 because I know season 1 had a lot of groups of episodes. There's a lot of groups of episodes. So there's very few just one-offs.
Even though there's like 3 or 4 that'll play as like a story, right? A story arc, but they bleed over. In this season, it seemed like they bled over better into the next story arc or next whatever. It was jarring sometimes because like they would pick up on a remote planet, Obi-Wan, and it's like, well, like those things help because like, okay, I know what's going on enough to like, let's get into the story, but they seem to from one to the next, even though we were getting those little bits, it was already headed that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was a lot of that. Like I think it was in like the 7th episode, and I realized I was like, wait, these are all kind of going together. They're not like these standalones. Like the ones that bother me are like the one where Ahsoka has to learn patience. Like, look. Some of that episode was kind of cool by the end, but watching this old man and his fucking cane just walk down a hallway and shit.
I like that one.
Oh,
I like that episode.
Like I said, it got better, like the end part, but like that, I almost skipped through it. I'm like, okay, I've had enough of this fucking episode.
Courtney.
What? Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of themes that they obviously carry over through the whole time, and one is just they show a lot more carnage and like kind of the rigors of war. It really started to get a lot more into that. It's definitely starting to get a little darker as you go. Also, they're focusing on a lot of elements. Like they continue to drive home people saying, "I thought Jedi were peacekeepers. You're not peacekeepers. You're warriors." That whole element continues to come up. And then, of course, the other one that's like kind of the overarching thing is Anakin and his building toward that place where he's going to turn. They've really focused, especially early on in the season, about how overprotective he was of Ahsoka, how he didn't want to put her in harm's way.
Yep.
And how even Luminara was like, you got to be able to let go of these people to like get through this. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Or he even has a kind of a little fight with Mace toward the end of the season about getting revenge. And there was something else that I picked up on that was like very like, oh, this is like him not. It had to do with attachments.
Yes.
Oh, when he was kind of giving Obi-Wan a little shit. Oh, what's going on with you and?
Oh, I love that.
Duchess Satine.
Satine, yeah. And he was kind of picking up on that. And he's like, "What you been laying down, Obi-Wan, while I was gone?"
He's like, "I'm known for coast to coast like butter and toast." Yeah. It's like I'm fucking all over the galaxy.
As he's rubbing the beard.
Yeah. He's just out there fucking laying it down.
Yep.
I've got hoes in different area codes.
Every planet.
Nice.
Yeah, so like there was the couple groaners from me were the romance between Annie and Padme at one point in time. Like
at least he wasn't like horned up in this season. You know, like there wasn't like, look, Padme, it's gonna be yes whether you want it or not. It was almost there that last episode.
him, like it's just like that trope of him being jealous and then the jealousy leading to like suspicion and suspicion leading to the dark side.
Well, there was some jealous in this one when
they laid the groundwork on this. We've got it. He's got
when
this.
she goes to play the spy.
The love triangle.
I can do yeah. And he walks in on her hugging him or whatever. And you just I'm like, come on, this is like a fucking soap opera.
Totally.
Yeah. He's like his eyes narrow.
Mm-hmm.
What is she doing?
And then she like passes over the card or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. We're playing spy games."
Oh, and I'm sorry you poisoned yourself also from drinking from that goblet. Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah.
The Geonosians and the fucking the Trade Federation dudes, they can be wiped off the face of the earth. Like I hope they're on a planet that the Death Star takes because I can't stand those two characters. Like I might be a little Star Wars racist right now, but like
they did spend like a good four episodes on. Well, and then they even took it off because the body snatchers left the planet with them, and they spent another episode or two after Genosha dealing with those things.
The Hive Queen voice.
You know what? That was annoying, but the whole idea behind everything, I really like that.
I do too. Let's dive into that a little bit more when we get there, because that has like some Star Trek Wrath of Khan shit going on there.
Right.
The spoiler that I dropped, the Bane being in the Stormtrooper costume, right? I called that right off the bat.
Did you?
Yeah. Like, sorry to ruin that for you guys last episode.
Well, I don't think it was...
Elephant in the room.
It wasn't like an M. Night Shyamalan moment. Like, oh my God.
I give myself more credit.
Did you? Because you were actually paying attention this time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you're already on season 3 now, so remember, let's not start dipping into that yet.
I almost hit play on the first couple episodes. I was like, no, let's not have another replay.
I almost hit play tonight because I got through. I was like, oh, I'll watch it now. I was like, no, because I'll do the same thing.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of what season it happens in. I have a question.
Okay.
What are the defense budgets for the Republic and the Separatists? Because the amount of ships and equipment and droids and men they are going through is outrageous.
That's why you take over planets and then you take over their currency and their
resources.
Yeah,
tithing.
exactly.
There's tithing and taxing and all sorts of treaties.
I mean, Anakin alone blows through fucking starfighters like they're going out of style.
Yeah, for the best pilot in the galaxy, like he really just goes through ships.
He does. He doesn't really care.
Yeah, we got the biggest budget in the entire world for the U.S.'s defenses, and if you lose an F-18 as a pilot, your career's over. Anakin's out there destroying one an episode.
Ho-hum, and just like it doesn't care.
Yeah.
Another 20 million credits. Throw it in my tab.
So we pick up from the last season where Cad Bane is
Cad.
What is Cad? Sorry, you know what? It's gonna happen.
I'm gonna do it all episode.
I have a hard time pronouncing names right.
Cad Bane.
Yeah, Cad Bane. He's our man.
Yeah,
he can't do it.
Yeah,
the Jedi can.
But those are the 3 episodes. So he's trying to, and they kind of got away with like they never even talked about Jabba's uncle. But they pick up this season because that was sort of how the season 1 ended. But I now I forget what the hell did he have?
The holocron.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
he stole the holocron.
Yep, holocron heist.
That's the name of the episode.
As the name of the episode. This whole series was good. I really want to see a lot more Cad and I know I said that last episode. He's such an interesting character, and so I'm kind of excited to see that. Again, I always try to every episode I finish, I hit pause on the character list to see who is the voice. Because there's so many crazy voices that show up out of nowhere. So do you know who the droid was? Toto 360?
No,
the little droid that helped Cad? It was Seth Green.
Yes, I saw his name in the credits. Yes, I did.
It's just so bizarre.
Nice.
Totally missed that. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
I like that whole holocron heist storyline, the little mini storyline where they try to get the force-sensitive young Jedi and like heist them, and then they're going to do some sort of weird experiment on them.
Right. And that ties really into the Mandalorian stuff.
Yeah. And
with the babies in the fucking incubators and shit, and they're going to like take their blood or what are they doing? And you're like,
it goes to Mustafar too.
Yep.
They had an installation on Mustafar, and then they dropped the shields and let the whole thing sink in.
Yeah, just fuck this lab.
Cool. Talk about another budget burner.
What's really funny is like, and then how many years later is it? It's the same exact fucking base on Mustafar that Obi-Wan and Anakin get in a fight in.
They found the blueprints. Like, let's just do it again. Same thing.
Yeah.
And I think we got a new title for you for the show, a new job for you for the show. Not only are you chief negotiator for the Mandalorian, but you also have to analyze budget
There we go.
oversights in the Empire.
What's the defense budget?
One of the things that I thought was interesting that was said, because when they were talking about the kids, well, two things. One, I thought it was my impression that Palps was like saying he wanted to raise these kids and kind of reprogram them to be spies.
Yeah, like dark side spies for the Emperor. Yes.
So that was crazy. But then also, Mace says something at one point when they're trying to figure out, they're all sitting around deciding where they need to go after the kids because they realize that Cad's going after these kids. And Mace says he felt something on, is it called Glee Ansem? Something like that. I'm saying that wrong. And Yoda's like, a child was taken into the dark side there. Who is he talking about? Like they never reference it again and they never go there. And I was trying to figure out who the hell is this kid supposed to be, but I looked up that planet and that is the home of Kit Fisto and Tobias Beckett, which is odd.
Wow. So they had 2, right? They wanted 4.
They wanted 4.
Then they foiled one, right?
Yep, they did.
Who foiled it was the
Gungan, right?
Greedo
the Gungan
species. Oh, the Gungan. The Gungan.
Yeah.
They had they had Greedo species, and then they had another. Was it a Twi'lek?
Yeah. Was it a Twi'lek or was it
I can't remember
it's a
what
trap?
the other one was.
It's a trap, guys. Or were those younglings? Now I forget. Yeah, because I crushed them like
there was
so
4,
fast.
and they caught him on number 3, right? Wasn't that so? Maybe that was the one that they foiled.
It could be.
If I'm thinking
I
correctly.
didn't feel like it was explained all that well, and so I just wondered who they were alluding to, who Yoda was talking about, because I couldn't figure it out.
I'll tell you, the Emperor's got a million fucking plans going at once.
Oh yeah.
Oh, also how they garnered this information from Cad Bane, where they just mind rape him.
Yeah.
Right. Mace, Obi-Wan, and fucking
Anakin.
like triangle of fucking force powers on him.
Put the hand out. You will tell us. You will tell us. You will. He's like. And he still was like, eh. And then what did they do? He's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done with you guys. I'll give you the information.
Yeah, he didn't last long. He's like, they're not paying me enough. But you know what? It serves Cad right because he used the fucking pit of despair on that Bola, whatever his name was, Bola Rapol. Remember they're hitting the electrocution thing, and he's like, ah, and he up too much. He's dead.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Pit of despair.
And then that's all we saw him. We only saw Cad these first 3 episodes, and then he's done. He's done so.
Yeah.
But man, he's fucking just puts him in a trap, runs away, and they're like, oh, he got away. And then like he's
slippery.
He's like Grievous.
He's a good villain, man.
He's like Grievous. He's always got a fucking speeder on standby.
But Grievous wasn't as cheesy, and we only saw Count Dooku like what, 3 times this season?
Yeah, most of it just holograms. You know?
Yeah. So
by the way,
the show is much different.
The Jedi Fallen Order game that we talked about maybe last week that I've played, I think you guys said you hadn't played it. Totally tied into this whole holocron thing. Like that's the main mission that he's after, trying to find this holocron, and the Night Sisters or whatever are trying to find it as well. So basically, they can find the list of younglings. It's almost like the knock list in Mission Impossible.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you looked up voices of people. The guy that played the inspector on the planet, who was this really pompous, was that John Lovitz? Because it sounded a lot like him.
No, it was some voice actor. It wasn't anybody that you would recognize. But yeah, I looked him up too. And there's some other ones coming that I'll mention when we get to them. So we get through Cad. We have the love triangle, the Senate spy episode that I figured was probably had to be your least favorite, Cole, just because of the whole romance issue.
Yeah, that's what episode 4, I put the romance episode in episode 4 between Annie and Padme was just atrocious. I could barely watch it without throwing up.
I liked how once he realizes that she's knows him from the past, that Clovis guy, he's basically stopped short of going, did you bang him?
Yes, you're right.
How well do you know him?
And then he's immediately like, you're not going. She's like, oh yeah, I am.
I'm putting my foot down, wife. She's like, no, you're not. She had there's something weird with the way they do that character. And you know, the half shirt when you're looking at CGI belly just fucking looks wrong.
Something looks weird there.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out.
And she had the PlayStation 1 Lara Croft pointy boobs. It's just it was this weird rendition of this character. And I was just like, it's so weird.
Yeah. Her stomach looks plastic. Mm-hmm. And I know it's animation, but it looks, like you said, it looks kind of bizarre. But then we go to Geonosis. And so you didn't like the whole Geonosis sequence, Cole, or you just don't like those creatures?
The zombie Geonosians and the clicking and the stupid fucking voicing of the Hive Queen. You really brought it home with your intro to the show, man.
I was hoping I
really gave me some PTSD. Got me good. I didn't care for that storyline. I don't know. It was just kind of
Well, that was the one that sort of played off the same from the movie, where they have to get underneath the shield to get rid of the shield to get the troops in just on time. So it was sort of wasn't that was on the, because they crash land in like 3 different spots, and then they have to like get to the wall they're being shot at.
Yeah, they take a beating coming in.
Yeah.
Like they're just getting worked over, and they're all broken up, so they all have to come together, and then they get under that shield. And then we meet, what was the name of that character? Barriss Offee? You want to guess the voice on that one?
I don't know. I don't remember what Barriss Offee looks like.
She's the Padawan for
Oh,
Luminara.
yes. Okay.
So that's Meredith Salinger, who is the gal who's she was in Dream
Patton
a Little Dream and shit like that.
Yeah,
back
Patton
in the day.
Oswalt's wife.
Yes, exactly. Which I thought was so funny because I thought, all I remember when I think of Patton Oswalt, I always think of that Parks and Rec episode when he does the filibuster.
Yes. Yes.
Have you ever seen that, Cole?
No, I've never watched Parks and Rec.
Oh, so
it was made famous on the internet because I think they only use 30 seconds of it in the show or whatever, but it's like 6 or 7 fucking minutes. Yeah. It's just like, and he literally just and then the Marvel Universe comes in, and he's just sitting at this public city court.
Yeah, so it's like the city council, and what he's trying to do is he's like, in the bylaws we can filibuster, so you're not allowed to vote on this topic. So I am taking my time to do that, and so he starts off, and he's like, he just starts and he goes, we all know, because it was back in 2013 or 14. He's like, we all know Disney obtained the rights and is going to release episode 7. I would like to tell you what I think the plot of that movie should be. And he starts, and he's like, the Crawl will come in and do this and this. And then he's like, the Mandalorian arm of Boba Fett will come out of the Sarlacc pit. And so he walks through all these crazy things that happen. And at one point he goes,
awesome.
Yeah, and at one point he goes, and then on this asteroid now this is a bit of a jump, so stick with me, Thanos. This is the perfect way to bring these two. So he goes through this whole thing, and it's all like they literally said, you just need to talk for as long as you can about nonsense. And he's like, okay. So he just totally ad-libbed it.
Yeah, none of it was scripted. Yeah, it was just him fucking talking.
So go look it up. Patton Oswalt filibuster.
It's amazing.
It is fucking hilarious.
Now it's his wife that played the voice of Barriss?
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Isn't she passed now?
No,
his Michelle...
ex-wife.
Michelle, you're right. What was his first wife was the one that the HBO documentary was on about the serial killer.
After Dark or something.
Yes. Yeah. And now he's remarried and she was an actress that was sort of known for being hot and whatever in the early 80s. What'd you say it was? It was Dream?
It was late 80s. Dream a Little Dream was a Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Classic.
Jeez, Matt.
Yeah.
Nice pull.
Yeah. No. So she shows up later as well. She's got another voice in here. So she's done a couple voices.
Okay.
I thought Patton Oswalt, I was like, how did he not do a voice? This is a guy who's done Ratatouille and all these other things. How has he not ever been involved in any of the Star Wars voiceover stuff, especially since he's obviously a fan?
We're only in the 2nd season.
Well, no, but I don't think he shows up ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Maybe.
So this is kind of the Padme of the Padawans go off on their own little mission to.
Yes.
They send them under through the tunnels because
she's got the fucking 200 tunnels memorized.
Yeah, she's got the Jedi mind.
Yep.
She's smart. She's got the hive mind.
Yep.
So they go under and they get up into beneath the shield, and then they find their way into the main chamber, and they're supposed to try to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see which I thought was a really cool moment in the show, where they we're not going to be able to hold this. The troops get in and they're fighting in the chamber, and then they self-detonate and bury themselves in. And I thought that was really cool.
They think they're killing themselves for the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought that was great. The super tanks, we saw the super tanks, which apparently the only way to defeat them is to take out their legs and let them plunge to their death in a big canyon.
Got to catch them over a bridge.
Right.
Oh, that's the one where they're fucking grappling the hanging rocks under the bridge and setting detonators.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, I'm like, they can't, there's nothing for their hands to hold on to.
Jedi skills.
Yeah.
Well, and then I don't know if this is one of the ones you're mentioning too, but when they go down into the underneath and encounter these zombies, another total Aliens vibe there. With the flashlights are shining in different spots and you're seeing them pop up, and it just
and the little things running behind them, and the sound, everything. Yes, very much so. And then they've got the giant worms that they stick into your nose, and it goes into your brain and takes you over, and then you're connected to the hive mind.
Yeah, you remember Wrath of Khan, when they put those bugs in their ears?
Oh yes.
So they put bugs in these two guys' helmets. I think it's Chekhov and somebody else, and they put the helmet on, and the bugs crawl in their ears and basically plant themselves in their brain. And that's what it looked like to me. It was just these crazy worms that were taking over the life form.
Well, it's a famous sci-fi trope. They've used the bugs in the brain and a million things.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get to the Grievous thing, and I'll be honest, I struggle with Grievous. I've struggled with him ever since he was introduced in the prequels. There's just something about his character. I don't know if it's the fact that they act like, he's got emphysema or something. And it's just a tough character for me to get on board with. Not to mention in the series, they really make him look like a moron. Like he's supposed to be this fierce guy, but he's kind of clumsy and like shit just doesn't go his way all the time. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's the animation part of it, right? We talked about that last time, because really it's like he is pretty fucking like ruthless and like recognized as like a really good warrior, but you're right, he does like these stupid things, or he's always like, drats you kids, and I'll get you next time.
Well, it's like before every battle starts, like they're just about to start, you feel like off camera he turns to the droids and goes, get my ship ready, because he's got to be ready to bolt at the scene.
Get the hyperspace
those
ring.
Fucking droids and their one-liners, man. And it's always when they're it's the ones that work for him that think they're on the fucking Wednesday night comedy tour.
The bad fucking jokes. Jeez, you don't have to be so rude about it.
Yeah.
So fucking.
What did he say? He did not say that. And I'm like, why are you fucking making one-liners right now?
Mind your fucking panel and do your job.
Boy, I'm glad I'm not that guy. As the fucking guy's head gets shot off.
Right. It's just goofy.
And like Grievous treats him like his own personal like fodder.
His redheaded stepchildren.
Maybe if you let us charge our batteries, he slices him down with a fucking saber.
It's like stepdad beating his kid with a belt.
Anybody else need to charge their batteries?
Shut your mouth.
I was waiting for him to say that. Anyone else need to use the bathroom before we leave?
No.
Do it now, because I'm not stopping again.
I went a week ago. I'm good.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, those things need solar power or something. They run out of gas a lot.
Well, it was funny. That's the first time we've ever, like, obviously they're robots. They run on batteries, but they've never said anything about a recharge or anything. All of a sudden, they're stuck straight on this planet. And he's, well, you won't let us ride on one of those horsies? And he fucking slices it. There you go.
Oh, man. You like the lightsaber Lost episode, Cole, where Ahsoka's having to track down because she deals with, has to recruit the old timer to go help her?
Yeah, it was fun, like, because you knew the dude was just like, just take your time. He's just like slowing her down, but he was like 3 steps ahead of the entire plot the whole time, and he just like, he knew where it was going.
It's the tortoise and the hare Star Wars version.
Yeah. I like that they just, they got a nice AARP plan for the retired Jedis. They just stick them in the vault.
He just happens to be hanging out in the library.
You think her...
It's been a long time since I've been on a mission. Let me go with you. Okay.
I think him and the librarian are using the empty stacks once in a while.
Over by nonfiction.
Yeah.
I think he's constantly all over her, and she's like, no.
Over in the Outer Rim.
Back in my day, I'd have had you.
By the way, the 2 gals that steal the saber and try to get away,
Yep.
Ione, that's Meredith Salinger again. And then Cassie is Jamie King. The gal that was in Pearl Harbor and...
Well, Jamie King is also the voice of... Aurora Singh.
Correct.
Yeah. Because that's when I really heard the voice, and I was like, God damn, I know that voice. And I looked it up. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I could see it. And then it's hitting me. I'm like, how long does this character stick around? Because as far as I know, I think she's still around. So then I'm like, oh, is she live action next?
Right. Well, and based on the way the season ends, it tries to lead you to believe she bites it. But I don't think that's the case, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the ship obviously is still around. So
right. And the fact that with Aurora Singh, she's the one, I don't know if you remember this from Solo, when Lando says to him, like, thanks for killing Aurora Singh. And he's like, well, I think I just pushed her. I think it was the fall that killed her.
Yeah, Beckett did. Yeah.
Beckett, yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Then we get into Mandalore. And this is where it picks up. I really enjoy these episodes, especially just because of what we're coming off of. There was so much stuff happening and so much like exposition being dropped about the way they got to this place. That Death Watch, discussion was really helpful. So all that stuff that I tried to kind of communicate just based on memory and the little things I looked up back when we did this before. Now I'm seeing it. I'm like, well, yeah. So if you'd seen all these episodes and listened to me describe that, you're probably just like, yeah, we get it, man. Because they just lay it all out for you. Here.
We hadn't.
It's like pretty straightforward.
And I watched these episodes before I think The Mandalorian came out because I wanted to know like what these things were. Or no, maybe it was after because it was the Darksaber was the reason I went and watched it. But for whatever reason, and maybe it was because I was watching on a big TV louder and not on my little tiny fucking phone at work, but they played better. They looked better. The story made a lot more sense.
Yes.
I got a lot more out of it. I enjoyed it this time. Yeah.
clearly you get this picture of the fact that Kenobi's had this relationship previously with Satine, but you're
Yes.
not sure exactly what that means.
Who's like the Mandalorian queen or governor,
She's
right?
the
Because they're
Duchess.
Duchess, yeah. Because the
Duchess.
planets they're kind of like not agreeing with each other,
Right.
which
right.
we learn. So he's sent out there, and we learn. This is where we learn like there's the separatist and the republic, but there's also like what do they say, like
Neutral.
1,500 planets
Yeah.
that are involved in the neutral group or whatever they're called, where they don't want to pick a side.
Switzerland.
Yeah,
The Council of Neutral Systems.
there we go. And this is where they sort of pick up where that this is the reason why he's sent out there, and then she is almost immediately assassinated in front of him.
Yes. And so then
And
they
then
have
he
to go
goes
figure out
John
who
Wick.
did it. And they think it's Death Watch because they left that symbol and all that stuff. And then, of course,
Right.
she goes and talks to Pre Vizsla, and he's acting all like, hey, great to see ya. We're
Mhm.
cool. And being coy. And then the whole time, of course, he's
And
working
that's
with
Jon
Dooku.
Favreau.
And that's
Who'd
Jon
you say
Favreau.
got-
right.
Who'd
Yeah.
you say got assassinated right when he went out there?
They tried
Tried
to
to.
assassinate
they
her.
tried to.
Yeah.
I was like, she didn't die.
Yeah,
I was
there-
thinking to myself. in my
There's a
head.
guy with a Star Wars detonator vest on.
And then you see the Mandalorian ships that we saw in the Mandalorian season 2 when remember when they go to find
Yes.
Bo-Katan, you see
Yeah.
those same ships.
Yeah, because I said something about it, and Brian's like, "Oh, well, you would know that this was the Mandalore." No, I wouldn't. I'd never seen the show before. This is a new ship to me.
Well, and getting into the dark stuff, when they realize that guy books when the bombing happens and he's like, everybody stay here, we're gonna question everybody, and that guy takes off, and then that guy runs out of options, just like, I'm gonna kill myself, blah,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
jumps. Like, whoa, shit's getting real here.
Yeah, he's a bit of an extremist for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm not never take me alive type of a thing.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of heavy.
So then that moves into the Senate. So then she has to go talk to the Senate, and this is where Palps is sort of trying to squeeze his fucking finger into ruling those planets and getting. And then of course he's also in with what's his name, Previs, right? So because they're trying to get it to where the Republic does come in,
Right.
and then the planet would be so mad that they're there that they'll rebel and go against Satine, and then they can take over the planet, and then I guess the Night Watch will have control.
Death Watch. Yeah,
Death Watch, yeah.
Death Watch. Yeah, they want them to take over so that everybody rallies on the side of Death Watch. But
Mhm.
what was funny too was on the way to the Senate, where they're escorting her, and then they realize like there's those freaking spiders and shit are down in the
Yeah.
cargo, and they're having to figure all that out. But then you see that dude, what's his name? Is it Tal Merrick? Who, by the way, is Greg Proops, if you know like whose line is it anyway? and
Oh,
stuff.
really?
That's him.
Yeah.
So he has this whole scene where he's trying to take Satine, and he's got the gun to her head, and
Yes.
Kenobi's talking, and then they reveal this like love to each other. Like Kenobi's like, if you would have said so, I would have quit the Jedi Order, and she's like, I
Yeah.
love you, and all that kind of stuff. Then she gets the jump on him, gets the gun away. This is my favorite moment of the entire season. So she's holding the gun on Tal. He's got to save her out, and he's like, well, you're both screwed because if you shoot me, you're a fucking hypocrite. And because he says he's going to blow up the ship. And he's like, and Obi-Wan, you don't want to do it because, you don't want to piss off her, your love interest. He's like, and so he says, what was the quote? He goes, who will strike and brand themselves a cold-blooded killer? And it's
Zoop.
as if Anakin walks in and goes, I'll do it. Like,
Yeah.
the way he comes behind, stabs him, and he almost like shrugs, like, I don't care.
Did anyone call a murderer?
Yeah, he grabs the like detonator, like, cool. I mean, he's so like nonchalant about it. It's like the perfect.
And then Anakin's like, or Obi-Wan, Anakin, you can't just be
Oh,
killing
Anakin.
people in cold blood. Well, someone had to do it.
Yeah.
So you need someone. You need someone mind raped while we're at it.
Yeah.
I violated the Geneva Convention 3 times today. Might as well do it for the 4th.
It was almost like he should have turned to the camera and done like the freeze frame of like the Jim Halpert face, like,
Yeah.
Give me the old wink and the symbol for the dark side.
I laughed out loud when that happened. I was losing my shit. That was so fucking funny.
And then it was like, it was almost like uncomfortable because they don't really talk about the fact that either of them admitted they love each other.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, well, now we've got a mission to get to. Yeah, that's right. Okay. And they just move on.
Right.
Anakin kind of gives him some like under the table shit.
Oh,
He
that's
just gives-
great.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally
Like, he
flicking him
kinda-
shit. Like, hey, your girlfriend. He's like, go get your girlfriend. He's like, I will, but wait, she's not my girlfriend. I love the needling. This is the best Anakin has been all season, is in this whole sequence. I just loved it.
Oh, before I forget, I just want to say Mace Windu's a dick.
Oh my God, I have that written down in my notes. Does anyone else
you?
think Mace Windu's a bit of a dick?
Yeah, he's a fucking dry fart if there ever was
He's
one.
kind of Johnny No Fun, you know? It's just all
Yeah.
business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're like dying underneath the rock, and he's like, "Is that stupid droid of yours gonna fucking save us? You know what, prick? You're on your last leg here. Why
You're
don't
not
you try
doing anything for us.
I wonder who scorned him, because he's really got some haunted past.
Yeah, he does.
That episode though, where she goes to the Senate and they like play that video that's doctored from that Jarek guy. This is
Yeah.
one of those moments where I was like, I've seen part of this episode. It's I was probably half asleep on the couch when my son was watching this episode. But because I do remember that whole sequence where they make it look like he's saying we want Republic invasion, essentially, or occupation, but
Yeah.
really it's a doctor video. I thought that whole sequence was really good with Mandalore. So I'm looking forward to them doing more with that, hopefully in season 3, because there's a lot to tell there.
Yeah, there's a lot of threads they're putting out, or seeds that they need to thread later. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it kind of went into some weird one-offs
Yes.
episodes toward the end, like 17, the Zillow Beast, and then the bounty hunters on the planet with trying to, what was it?
That was
Group of
that was the
farmers.
Seven Samurai episode.
Okay, the Seven Samurai.
Where they're like trying to help fight off Hondo, your boy Hondo.
Yeah, Hondo. He keeps showing up everywhere. I hate that guy.
Dude, when Aura Singh walks up to him and just kisses him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah, yeah. And then he looks at little Boba Fett. He's like, it's not mine, is it?
I love that. It was almost like the Bill Burr moment. Did you guys make this? When he was talking to
She's like, no. And he's like, and then when she says something cocky to him, he's like, oh, yeah, I remember. Like, it's almost like she uses him when she needs to, but he doesn't trust her worth like a lick.
Yeah.
But apparently he's gotten laid a few times out of
I
it.
think that's what's happening. Yeah, for sure.
She's a cool fucking character, though.
I like her a lot. I'm hoping to see a lot more of her because she's pretty badass.
Did you pick up that was little Boba Fett right away?
Oh, yeah. Because
Okay.
I think I had seen maybe a little bit of one of those episodes too. So I knew that was going to be Boba.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Oh,
but
he's a little over the top, too.
yeah, well,
So I didn't-
hold on. Before we get there, the Zillow Beast, a.k.a. fucking King Kong. I mean, that is a straight like King Kong old school ripoff. They find this mysterious beast and that nobody knows about. They chain him up, take him back to civilization. Then he breaks out and rampages the entire town. I mean, it's exactly King Kong. I thought that was kind of a like those two episodes were kind of fine. I wasn't real big on the Zillow Beast.
Yeah, like Mace Windu seemed to like stand up for that Zillow Beast like a little too much. It's an innocent being. We will not kill it. But like he's like, I don't know, like just it's a whatever. He really wanted that thing to live. Did you notice that?
He did.
He was advocating.
He never had a pet when he was younger.
No, that's maybe why he's so cranky.
He likes monsters more than people.
Fucking apparently.
He's a bit of a monster himself.
Well, then Palps at the end is like, clone it to that doctor. Like, you want me to clone this thing? Like, yeah. I like to clone everything.
I want you to put me in that.
Big cloning guy, me.
Yeah.
That Embo guy, that Seven Samurai episode, the bounty hunter with the hat that like was almost using it like fucking Captain America's shield. That dude was awesome. I love that character. Like he was whooping much ass.
Yeah, he was cool. He was the one that was out there killing all the bounty hunters, right?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch that episode, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
I wondered why you had that blank look on your face.
I'm trying to get through it.
Kung
Cole
Lao.
keeps looking at me like, "You gonna back me up?" No, I can't.
Well, and if Filoni was the voice of him, so Filoni likes
that's
to
cool.
jump in there every now and again and get his voice on stuff. Yeah.
See what you missed for not doing your homework?
He's all right to go in the voice booth, but when he had to put on that fucking TIE fighter uniform and he was angry about
Wolf
it.
Trapper.
Yeah, he tried to avoid that.
Yeah.
Trapper
not a big
Wolf.
fan. But then we get to the end, and I thought it ended really well. Bringing Boba in, that's actually the kid who played him doing the voice.
Yeah. Yep.
So I thought that was cool, and I just thought the whole sequence was good. I mean, it's something we talked about when we rumored about like would Mace Windu show up in Mandalorian,
Right.
and would Boba like lose his shit when he sees him.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. So
He
that
goes
was
on the
cool.
fucking hunt for him.
Right. So it's cool to see him like trying to exact that revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, he's like they try to paint him as that's his singular focus. He's not trying to be like a bad person in general. He didn't want other people to die. He just wanted to kill Mace Windu. Like that's it. That's my whole mission.
Yep.
I don't want anybody else to get hurt. But in the meantime, I'm going to do everything I can to kill this man.
Mm-hmm.
He was really annoying to me. Like his whole character, just angry little miniature dwarf running around. You killed my dad, and I'll never forgive you. Like, fucking shut the fuck up.
You didn't like the stern look or like.
Yeah, he's angry all the time. Like, whatever.
I know someone else who's angry all the time.
Who?
I don't know.
I'm not angry all the time.
Happy as a clam.
Yeah.
Well, and I love how he uses his dad's helmet as the bait there for that bomb.
Right.
When he walks in, he's like, wait a minute, what's the Mandalorian helmet doing here? Don't pick it up.
And then Mace Windu puts it together. And then he, like, as they're underneath the wall, I got nothing else to do. I'm going to just hold half a helmet and recollect this story. Anakin's like, well, yeah, that'll do it. He tells him why he's trying to kill him. Well, I killed his dad, and he was there to witness it.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because he's so fucking cold-blooded, that guy. The only emotion he has is toward his attachments. Everything else is just plain. Like, I don't care. I'll kill anybody. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So bizarre.
He's so matter-of-fact about it. Yeah, the child happened to have been present when I decapitated his father. Oopsie. Not like he regrets it. Not saying I did anything wrong, but he was right there when I cut his dad's head off.
Yeah. Well, and then it ends with Aura and Slave One going down. You think they die, but obviously we know Aura's going to survive. Slave One's going to survive. So, But again, they're like, we don't need to check it out. I'm sure they're dead. Let's move along.
Never do their homework or never do their work and check out.
But we got to see Bosk too. That was good.
Yeah. He's got like a little team, and it's almost like because of who Jango was, he sort of gets taken in by these bounty hunters, right?
Yeah.
So he's not really a bounty hunter. It's just he has nowhere else to go, but he wants to kill Mace, so they're in on it. And I couldn't tell if like they were working for little Boba or if he was just with them, but they seem to live off of everything that this kid could give them because of like Jango's previous fortune or what,
That's what I was wondering. I don't know if it has to do with is he paying them? Aura is real tied to him until the moment she abandons him, and he's like, you fucking left me. Like, so obviously his abandonment issues come roaring to a head because he sees her run off, his only friend.
Who was the voice at the bar in that episode? Was it that one, or the one where they go down into the underworld?
You mean the happening nightlife on Coruscant Underworld? That was that's pretty lit scene down there.
Yeah, they walk in there and I was like, there's like the one Twi'lek or whatever, damn near stripping on the pole.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, what are we watching here?
Clone Wars is all grown up.
Yeah.
I don't know. So there was somebody at that bar. I don't know if I picked up that.
The voice sounded familiar. The one that was working the bartender kind of sounded familiar. And I was going to look that up, but I didn't. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, so many voices could sound familiar because if you look at the list, it's like that whatever his name is, D. Baker, whatever his name is. He's done like 52 characters. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so a lot of them get used over and over and over again because
like Hank Azaria in The Simpsons.
Yes, right.
Just does every other voice.
Right. Anyway, so I thought, if I had to say which eps were my favorite, it would be the Cad Bane eps, the Mandalorian eps. I mean, I did like the Boba Aura story at the end.
Like overall, I thought this season, in the first season wasn't bad, but this one, I don't know, it seemed a bit more tighter.
Yes.
Everything flowed a little bit better together. The stuff that they brought in worked within the story. It didn't seem forced, overall, I really enjoyed this. Even the R2 shit, like it was kind of cool. Like when they keep going off in these characters and doing one-offs, I'm like, oh, not this again. But like watching R2 deal with these big old fucking beasts, then getting in the ship and fucking like flying loop-de-loops and shit, just killing it and goes off and the communications get shot down. So he's like, fuck it, I'll go into warp speed and go back to the ship and go tell him like everything. It was kind of a fun episode.
Well, and those were gun darks. Like this is again just how they pull those little minutia quotes out of the original trilogy. When Han says that to Luke, like, you look like you're strong enough to pull the ears off a Gundark. And so now they've got that character in there. It's just so funny how they do that, how they tie that all together. It's like, well, we got to have a creature. Well, he mentioned this one thing once. Okay, let's use that.
Let's use it.
Let's make it up on the spot. Give it really big ears.
Yeah. There was less filler. It was certainly tighter. I like the fact that they bunch a few episodes together. I mean, I'm binging this shit anyway, so I'm like, yeah, let's just keep going with this storyline.
Right.
Might as well play the whole thing out instead of just trying to wrap it up in 22 minutes or whatever.
They're playing like small movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I liked season 2 a little bit better. It started out like strong at the beginning, strong at the end, more so, and then the middle was just kind of here and there for me. But yeah, I liked the beginning and the end of the season for sure.
Are you liking Ahsoka more?
Yeah, she's growing on me a little bit. What did they say she was? Oh, Ahsoka was kind of sticking up for Anakin at one point in time with Barriss, and she's like something about Anakin holds extremist views with the Jedi. Like even Ahsoka kind of picks up on the fact that he's not a normal Jedi. Like and then they're kind of like Illuminati says something too. She's like, you guys kind of just run and gun like this all the time with no. She said like she had a commentary on it too. So like there's little like
she's the female Mace Windu.
Well, there's little subtle. I like her.
I do too, but she's by the book.
Yes.
Not so much, I would say. Maybe not as bad as Mace, though. I would say.
No.
Right.
Mace is more so for sure.
But I like how they're setting him up as like kind of an outlier, like Anakin. Is like the outlier,
yeah.
Right? Like he's not. He's just doing his own thing, and then they're like, even the clones are like, yeah, Master Anakin's at the helm. He's like, so we'll definitely be doing something crazy or whatever. You know, they all know like to expect it at this point.
Yeah, at one point Ahsoka says, I'm not sure how peacetime will agree with him, talking about Anakin.
Oh.
So she sees there's a lot of red flags here where like this is working great because we're in war and he's just slaying people left and right. But I'm not sure what this guy's going to do when he needs to just chill.
Yeah, he's not like the Jedi to pick up a book and fucking learn old text.
No.
It's like that meme you see. What do you mean you never told the supervisor to go fuck yourself? He's like, that's why no one will remember your name.
So I hope people played along and watched season 2 with us, and then they'll watch season 3 next.
You got 2 weeks.
Talk about that in 2 weeks. Yeah, this time I'll try to do a better job and start earlier on it. I started way too late, which is like cranking through them at the end. Yep. But it was a lot of fun. So do you guys want to go to mailbag? Mailbag?
Yeah, mailbag.
I do.
I can't wait.
I'm a representative of the United States government, authorized by
Order 66.
I'm your postman.
You've been mailbagged.
As I mentioned at the top of the show, you can reach out to us if you want. Send us something. We'll read it on the air and address your questions, concerns, etc. It's facpapod@gmail.com. We got one email this week. Thanks to Chris Meyer from Our Liner Notes. And how was your week, honey? If you're interested in checking out their podcast.
And you should be.
You should, especially that Our Liner Notes. Really like that co-host.
Sultry tones.
He sounds real familiar.
Real familiar. I should do some of these Star Wars voices on there. So
you should sing. You should do what's the name of the band? Trivia? The trivia?
No, Max Rebo?
The Cantina Band?
Yeah, Max Rebo.
Rebo the Cum Guzzlers or something?
Yeah.
The Cum Guzzlers.
That's a little more blatant.
That's a little bit more rate on that.
Just Rebo and the fucking cum sluts.
So Chris says, hey, fellas. Hope all is well in the FACPA universe. Pretty good. Can't complain. In order to keep up with the pod, I too have been watching the Clone Wars. See, he's doing it right. Along with you. In doing so, I have been painfully reminded of many of the elements that turned me off the prequels the first go-round, as it is set within that same time frame. Now, I won't get into all those elements here. Hopefully, we can save those for a future discussion, wink, wink, when Chris will be on the show, because we will have him on the show. But I did want to ask about something more specific, which is the original 3 films gave us so many memorable and iconic ship designs, X-Wing, TIE Fighter, Millennium Falcon, that have lasted with Star Wars fans since its inception. However, with the prequels, I thought this was a major letdown, as most of the look and designs of the spacecraft were, well, fucking awful.
Tell us how you really feel.
Duly noted.
Everything had this strange 50s finned Cadillac look to it, which kind of makes sense considering like George Lucas, loves that era of like with the movie he did. What's it called?
I will say that he is absolutely dead on. There's truth to this.
Yeah. Oh, is he? There's like you've read something about this?
Yeah. When we get through, I'll tell you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he said, and nothing really stuck with me at all. Also, the final 3 films just fell back on the designs of the original 3 and missed an opportunity to inject something new. Do you guys agree with this thought, or are there newer designs you really liked, and am I just being too harsh? Would you like to see some newer, cooler ships, or do you think that because the original designs were so indelible, it's impossible to come up with something new that's equally impressive?
This fucking spot on, Chris, because that, I've never really thought about that, but as I'm listening, because I didn't read this before the show, because you kind of said this could be a read it to us on air type thing. Mm-hmm. He's absolutely right, because you think of TIE Fighter, X-Wing, even Darth Vader's cruiser, the ones where the wings fold up, that you know that's his ship, Vader's ship. Vader's on that ship, right?
Yeah.
That's that one. And then even the A-wing, not so much. It's not as iconic, but it was in the, you know, like the original Episode 4.
Yeah. Millennium Falcon.
The Millennium Falcon, of course. But, like, when you see Millennium Falcon in 7, you're just like, you got, I don't know if you guys got it, but I got
almost
chills.
cried.
I was like, holy fuck. She's like, that thing's a piece of junk. Yeah. And you look over, I'm like, what the fuck did she just say about the Millennium Falcon?
I'm walking out of here.
But yeah, like you don't like. So there's the little the cruisers and the speed ships. They go into hyperspace they detach. All of them, the ones that are in Episode 3, the first battle. Obi-Wan and Anakin are in it. It looks like a little compass point.
Oh yeah.
Those little triangle shaped ones. Mm-hmm. You don't ever remember those. You don't remember like any of the. There's always the one rebel ship, the big long crater or the big long freighter, right? There's always that rebel ship that's in the background too. But like, yeah, you don't really. None of the new craft really sticks with me, so I think he's spot on. Yeah, they're just all kind of garbage. And the stupid fucking, like, wannabe Millennium Falcon where it's really thin. They got, like, a thin arm going off. Like, all through Episode 1, Anakin was flying, or all through Season 1 of the Clone Wars, he was flying it.
Yeah.
It's, like, got 2 parts to it, and then there's the thin rail that connects them. Like, what the fuck is that thing?
Yeah.
And when he inverts it, I'm like, oh, that thing's like a stupid, like, stop sign now. Like, get out of here with that fucking ship. I've actually said that. I'm like, that ship's fucking garbage. Like, get it out of here.
Well, I wonder how much, to his point, I wonder how much the original trilogy stuff sticks out because it's the first we ever saw. We never saw anything else. So it's the first thing that leaves an impression. You didn't know what to expect, and then all this stuff comes out, so all of it looks pretty sweet. I think it's a little bit of that. However, the sequel trilogy, I mean, they had like Kylo ships that were a little different. They had those weird crate speeder things on, in Last Jedi. So they did have some stuff that was a little, like the Resistance bombers. That was a different concept.
I think some of it has to do with, you're right, like it was our age. We grew up with this.
Well,
it was
so
all
much.
new for the first time. Mm-hmm. And like Lucas is huge on history, right? So this all plays into it. The idea was when they went into the prequels and they made everything like shiny and, like he said, very 50s Cadillac, was on purpose. He wanted everything to look like it was this brand new peaceful era, like America after the war, when we built these cars and everything was fucking like nice and beautiful, and that was the point. He wanted for the Star Wars universe to look, it was pre-war, right? All these ships, all these things were being manufactured. Everyone had good things. It was all brand new and shiny. Padme's ship was like supposed to resemble that. It was just this chrome fucking bullet, right?
Her ship, by the way, always cracked me up because all I think of is it just looked goofy. It looked like a mirror, and all I could think is, boy, don't lean up against that thing on Tatooine. Just gonna fucking singe your entire skin off.
Starting fires on the ground around it.
And then when we go into, and the idea was for him to like reverse engineer it. So as it goes into the original trilogy, as you're watching them from the prequels on, because of war, because of all the stuff happening, they're not building anything. All the ships look like they're beat up, beat to shit, ruined. They're always falling apart, all this because no one's doing anything new, right? And then I think the idea we didn't see any like new ships in the new trilogy was because that just carries on even more. Like we're still in this era of like, well now like the Republic can't get their shit together. They're the new or the Empire becomes the first order. So like nobody's doing like this shit. So it's just carrying on what exists. For her to go to the Millennium Falcon was just this fucking junk, on a planet that had a fucking tarp over it. And they're like, let's steal that. So it's that's sort of the idea behind of why that exists. Yeah. So from that I respect it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when I looked at the prequels originally, I was thinking, what are they trying to do here to make it look like this is something that's going to morph into what we see later? But I think you're right. It's just a lot of stripped down stuff. It's not as fancy. I mean, so there's ships they have that look kind of like X-Wings, but then they're like just stripped down versions when you get to the X-Wing. Mm-hmm. They're pretty more, they're kind of more basic. It's the old joke about when you make a movie and then make a prequel to it, sometimes the old stuff looks better than the original because you have better technology now to make it look that way. But maybe you should take a little bit of the shine off. But I can see that. I never really thought about the whole 50s aspect of it like that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Man, you can't say that 4, 5, and 6 don't hold up the test of time though. Like those movies are still, to this day, you watch them and they're still like really, even though it's like older technology, this still catches me in the feels. Like when they lock X-wings in attack formation. Like, you're like, oh, here
You
we go.
It's
going after the
love
Death
that X-wing shit, man.
Dude, I fucking love that battle.
When that Squadron movie comes out, you're just gonna be all over it.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be my pick, for sure.
I like when they're passing through the whatever that field is, and those guys are all like shaking all over the place in the cockpit.
Passing through the magnetic what is he passing through there? I can't remember what it is now.
Because you can imagine there's like 3 guys below that guy, just like shaking him, like practical effects. Anyway,
I love the chatter on those intercoms, because they thought they were being slick. Like, they'll start a sentence and then you'll hear it on another person's cockpit, and it's like really distorted. Cut the chatter, Red 5 or whatever you hear. It's just it sounds so terrible, but like. My brother, the only reason I know all these lines is my brother Zach would always just pop those out in the middle of like something, and like you'd be talking and he'd yell that to you like in the back seat, and you're like, okay, that was a Star Wars reference.
So he had it memorized, and then you would get it from him.
Yeah. Then I memorized it.
Yeah, the rebuttal with another line.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Chris. He said keep up the great work, and always, and I think he just says always love the show. So cheers.
Yeah, I just want to know who hurt him.
Yeah, and I'm supposed to be the angry one. You guys are yelling at me.
Now I'm reminded why I hated the trilogy.
Well, I can understand. I think that this is the thing that put me off Clone Wars, the show we're watching now originally, was I was like, I don't know if I can really get into this era because I struggled so much with the prequels. Having come back around to it, and like I've said before, picking out elements of the prequels I enjoy and not focusing on the shit that I don't like.
Yeah.
And then of course also seeing the fact that Clone Wars has like built up so many of these characters we've now seen in other shows.
Right.
To me, it's almost like must read stuff. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And not to mention, you're a complete sellout, and we're starved for content right now. So
That too. No shame here.
So there's the oh shit, the name of it escaped me. What is the new series called?
Which
The
one?
High Republic?
Yes, the High Republic.
Yeah, I almost bought the book, and there was another one, and I'm like, no, well, first of all, I've got enough books laying around here I need to read, but because we're doing all this Star Wars stuff, I'm loving it. But if I get into that, like, I'll be lost forever.
Well, and I think there's plenty of room for that later this year, because we're gonna get through all these Clone Wars episodes. We're gonna get through the Rebel stuff. Maybe someday they'll fucking tell us when the Bad Batch is coming out. I don't know. Yeah. And then I imagine
I feel like Matt's got it clocked somewhere.
As we
just counting down. Motherfuckers are going to tell me by Tuesday.
Like once a week I go.
Said it again.
Once a week I do like a Google News search. Bad Batch? Nope. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
It would be great if it timed with us finishing Clone Wars reviews, but I don't know if it's
perfectly.
That well.
Yeah.
But I think by the time summer and fall rolls around, we'll have some time to get into those books, and I'll actually have more time to read them. But right now, just getting through these episodes is enough for 2 weeks.
And good news, I've forgotten everything about Rebels already by watching the Clone Wars. So I'm gonna
there you go. You can go through it again.
I can't fucking wait to watch Rebels again.
I'm looking forward to getting into that. Now, hold on, before we move on, the High Republic. I was looking, so I almost bought the book, but you can buy the Kindle or not the Kindle, the Audible, right? It's 13.5 hours or something like that. And I was like, we can listen to that in the carpool.
We could.
Yeah. Want to?
Sure.
So yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So shy the way you asked. You want to maybe do that? Wink, wink.
Hey, will you be my Sadie Hawkins?
Well, I mean, I think we're both about fucking fed up with anything related to COVID or politics right now.
Yeah, you need something to take your mind off it. So
you were even switching off shows.
Yeah, it was a very particular
off people's shows.
Co-host show. Yeah.
Tired of the fucking political talk.
We started listening to your year in review, you and Chris. We got about 8 minutes into it, and I'm like, well, some of it was like, okay, this is really good. I like listening to this perspective, but I'm like, Cole's gonna fucking kill Matt.
Well, that's why somebody said that to me before. I can't remember. They're like, so does politics ever come up on your Star Wars show? And I was like, no, we know better than to talk about it. Yeah. We just stick to the Star Wars.
Stay away from each other. Once in a while, someone will needle the other one. Yep. That's about it.
Yeah, because you've made a couple of, like, during recording, you made a couple of jokes.
They fall flat every time. I learned my lesson to stop. It's not the place.
We're trying to find common ground here, and this is our common ground. So.
And Star Wars is our common ground.
We're trying to heal America.
Right.
Okay, it's starting right here on the fact.
This is
by listening to the High Republic.
This is where the unity starts, all in Star Wars.
Yep.
That's right.
I think we're done, unless you have a factoid.
You know what? I do not have a fact, but God, I keep wanting to scroll, but I can't check my notes. Yeah, I don't have a computer either. So, look, I just want to thank everybody for listening, and we've kept you for far too long. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time when we discuss the third season of the Clone Wars. So thank you for listening, and until next time,
Never tell us the odds.
In our experience, there's no such thing as luck.
we have spoken.